In this second tutorial on sources of government revenue, we'll be looking at specific issues related to the State Joint Local Government Account Allocation Committee. And the State Joint Local Government Account Allocation Committee makes sure that there is equal distribution of the statutory allocations to the local governments from the Federation account, and 10% of the IGR or internally generated revenue of the appropriate state governments shared to the local governments in the states in accordance with the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The State Joint Local Government Account Allocation Committee is guided by some principles, including the principles of equality, population, primary school enrollment, and internally generated revenue. The commissioner charged with the responsibility for local government in the states to be the chairman of the State Joint Local Government Account Allocation Committee, and the chairman of each local government council in the states is also a member. So each local government council in the respective states have chairmen, and these chairmen are members of the State Joint Local Government Account Allocation Committee. Then there are two representatives of the Accountants General of the Federation, as well as a representative of the Accountants General of the states. Two persons will be appointed by the state governor, and the permanent secretary of the state ministry charged with the responsibility for local government or equivalent officer as may be designated by the commissioner shall be the secretary to the State Joint Local Government Account Allocation Committee. The functions of the State Joint Local Government Account Allocation Committee include: 1. They make sure that allocations made to the local government councils in the states from the Federation account and from the states are promptly paid into the State Joint Local Government account. They also ensure there is distribution of allocations to local government councils in line with the provisions of laws made with that in respect of that by the House of Assembly of the particular state. Then we move to the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission comprises of a chairman and one member from each state of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. These persons are members of people or individuals who have unquestionable integrity with the requisite qualifications and experience to be appointed by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The commission, that is the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, has rights, including its right to monitor the accruals to and disbursement of revenue from the Federation accounts. The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission also has the right to review periodically the revenue allocation formula and principles to ensure that there is conformity with changing realities in the economy. The commission, that is the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, advises the federal, states and local governments on fiscal efficiency and methods by which their revenue is to be increased. The commission, that is the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, shall determine the remuneration that is proper to the holders of offices in Parts A and B of the first schedule to the acts that sets up the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Also, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission is a statutory member of each of the following government agencies, including the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, the Local Government Joint Accounts Allocation Committee, the Joint Tax Board, the Niger Delta Development Commission, and the Commission on Ecological Fund. The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission has power to demand and obtain regular and relevant information, data or returns from any government agencies, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, the Nigerian Customs Service, the Federal Board of Inland Revenue, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Federal Ministry of Finance. Prior to the 1989 budget, the Consolidated Revenue Fund had the following sources of government revenue. The heads and the exact description of those heads are represented as follows. We had Head 1, Indirect Taxes, Head 2, Direct Taxes, Head 3, Mining, Head 6, Direct Allocation, Head 7, Direct Taxes, that is from the Pay As You Earn category, Head 8, Licenses and Land Revenue, Head 9, Mining with respect to solid mining of solid minerals, Head 10, Fees, Head 11, Earnings and Sales, Head 12, Rent of Government Property, Head 13, Interest and Repayments, that is general, Head 14, Interest and Repayments with respect to repayments from state governments, Head 15, Reimbursements, Head 16, Armed Forces, and Head 17, Miscellaneous. After the 1989 budget, the sources of government revenue to the federal government included the Federation Account Revenue Heads and the Federal Government Account Revenue Heads. In the 1999 fiscal year, the sources of government revenue were further expanded to include the value-added tax. So in addition to the previous two after the 1989 budget, we now had three sources of government revenue, including the Federation Account Revenue Heads, the Value-Added Tax, and the Federal Government Account Revenue Heads. The revenue allocation formula is federal government is shared between the federal government, state government, and local government. The federal government gets an allocation of 52.68%, while the state government gets 26.72%, and the local government gets 20.60%. Of the federal government's 52.68%, 48.5% is distributed to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, 1% is for the Federal Capital Territory, and 1.68% is for the development of natural resources, while 1% is for share of derivation and ecology, and 0.5% is for stabilization. The allocation to the 36 states and the FCT Abuja is based on the following: 40% based on the equality of all states in Nigeria, 40% based on the population of the states, 10% on independent revenue efforts, and another 10% on social development. And of the 10% on social development, 4% is to be spent on education, 3% is to be spent on health, and 3% is to be spent on water. For the purpose of the allocation to the 36 states and Abuja, the FCT Abuja is treated as a state for the purpose of this allocation.